It is 12 o'clock noon Sunday across Hawaii, and we are monitoring Tropical Storm Flossie coming in from the east. It is currently moving west at 20 miles per hour, and it still has maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. And you can see the forecasted track from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center taking the storm directly across the islands, passing just north of the Big Island as a tropical storm. Therefore, we do have tropical storm watches and warnings in effect. Today's latest daytime visible satellite animation reveals that Flossie is holding together quite well despite being surrounded completely by dry air. In fact, the latest visible satellite shows that we have convection developing directly over the center of circulation, which should help Flossie to persist for at least another 24 to 48 hours. And as you can see on the enhanced infrared, once again we have more convection developing near the center of circulation. Now, the good news is that we do not expect Flossie to make a run towards Category 1 hurricane intensity. Rather, this convection should help to maintain the tropical storm with roughly 50 to 60 mile per hour winds as it continues westward toward the islands. And as you can see on the water vapor, this is the primary reason why we expect no further strengthening, because as you can see, there is a lot of dry air completely surrounding the tropical storm. The other bit of good news is that in addition to the dry air, we also have a mid to upper level trough approaching from the north, and that is helping to induce more in the way of northwesterly wind shear over the tropical cyclone, which is another inhibiting factor against intensity. The more regional water vapor animation shows all of the factors in motion, and this is the mid to upper level trough that is now bypassing the tropical storm towards the east. If it would have amplified a little bit more so towards the south, it could have helped Flossie to turn more towards the north and then eventually towards the northeast, but it is indeed bypassing the tropical storm. Therefore, we are expecting a more continuous path towards the west and west-northwest over the next 2 to 4 days. As the trough continues to move more so towards the east, we may even see a bit of a dip in the track of the storm with more of a west-southwest gradient over the next day or so as a ridge becomes the more dominant of the two steering factors, and that is why some of the model members here do show a slight west-southwest bend in the forecast track, so we are expecting some of the worst weather associated with Flossie to move over the big island of Hawaii and possibly extend north over towards Oahu, so all areas within here should be bracing for at least tropical storm force winds with locally higher gusts, especially in some of the higher terrain, and the higher mountainous regions of the state could also expect to see some of the higher rainfall totals associated with this tropical cyclone. It is also somewhat rare for a tropical system to be threatening Hawaii coming from the east, because many storms that form in the eastern Pacific usually have to contend with moderate to strong westerly winds in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere that help to shear apart these storms, in addition to a lot of cool water temperatures directly east of the island. But it certainly is not above normal water temperatures that is enhancing Flossie. As a matter of fact, the water temperatures are near to slightly below average just to the east of Hawaii over the course of this past week. Just to reiterate how rare this is for a tropical system to be approaching the Big Island from the east, this is a look at all recorded tropical cyclone tracks since the late 1800s, and the vast majority of the storms that you see outlined on here are rather weak. They're usually tropical depressions or tropical storms, and that's about what we're going to be expecting with Flossie. Certainly not a devastating tropical cyclone by any means, especially if all precautions are taken, but it is a noteworthy event nonetheless. So we are expecting rather tranquil conditions out across the Hawaiian Islands for at least the next 12 to 18 hours, but thereafter conditions will rapidly begin to deteriorate as the western outer bands of Flossie begin to move inland. So now is the time to be making those precautions, especially if you live in an area that is prone to mudslides and some of the higher terrain. So I would also gather some of those loose belongings around your home, because we will be seeing wind gusts in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. So this is not going to be a catastrophic event, but still something that you definitely want to take note of and prepare for nonetheless, and all should go fine as long as those precautions are taken. So that is the latest update from us here at 28storms.com. Please follow the National Weather Service updates in Honolulu, along with official updates from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center for more information on this storm.